Last minute bullets. What's the time?
It's usual. I think systems of my
some of the beautiful stories. Very smart. Very much looking forward. I was here. It's a big challenge to write very small words. Done. On the big picture.
Yes, yes, I had
Yeah. She asked me to call the lead. Okay, okay, see you later. Cheers. Bye. Hello.
Schreib noch was drauf. Das ist ja alles.
This is the live.
Yeah, this is the live
stream.
People in it. Yeah,
They're already.
I think people are already watching. Yeah. And
You didn't check that.
no, yeah,
Oh, not yet.
yeah. My phone is there now.
Call Daddy Manu.
Yeah, I checked that already. We don't have an option. If you do this, if I put it the reverse way, then it's going to be this way. But to have the right view, we should have it straight. But straight is not possible. And straight, we won't be able to cross the holes. Can't we like to tilt this this way? Because this is the yeah. Just check now. Can you just 1 second? Can you? Yeah. We'll take 30 seconds.
Now let's flip the other side. So I think take your phone, put it the other side. Abdullah, take this out, take the camera out, and flip it. The one.
கொஞ்சம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்க. இதை கொஞ்சம் இது பண்ணு. ஆனா நான் லாக் பட்டன் அனுப்பிச்சக்கூடாது.
Check. Yeah.
This is the time you need to smoke.
Think we have the time we can look at
I'm so busy working till morning. Even in my home also I was replying to my emails. Because I work on project basis and with the tender managers. I just transfer my work to my email for day. Deadline based. Let's see. A evening of
almost rooms are it's a one of the similar thing.
maybe little bit there, I think same level of members. Yeah. There was instruction of Sneha, so you're gonna have to buy it ready. Little better. Yours is stitch one, right? Yeah, that was the issue for me as well. Stitching they need 1 month. Plus,
Like
yeah, so this is quite perfect.
so we are next. Something is supposed to be on.
Manu is smoking in a minute. In seconds.
It's a big.
Like
Take a seat. Good afternoon, Cherian and Manu, in the first place. Good afternoon, family and friends of the newlyweds present here, and of course also good afternoon to all those who are connected with us today by video call to experience for now most beautiful day in the lives of Cherian and Manu. Also on behalf of the municipality of Utrecht, I welcome you all to this wedding chapel of the Anthony Hotel, which for today may pass as temporary house of the municipality. At this place, you will soon be going to say yes to me as an extraordinary civil visitor, and I will then perform this marriage as desired by you. We spoke to each other in Sneha's flat 3 weeks ago to dot the I's and cross the T's and make this ceremony a great success today. I will ask you to take your seat and not to keep standing because your feet will be very tired when you do this for the whole hour. Okay, something that you certainly also your witnesses, friends, but especially parents have been looking forward to in recent weeks, maybe even years. Everyone's presence at this ceremony, physically or by internet, is the greatest proof of support for your decision to enter into this marriage together. This applies in particular to your parents, whom I would like to extend a warm welcome to on this occasion. Nava vir valiton, kim patao or pitao And to others I would say, ein herzlich willkommen an alle Familie und Freunde aus Deutschland. To the tones of the Courante, the third movement from the first Bach suite for cello, Sneha was brought forward here on the arm of her father, Mr. Hannes Singer. Today, we are going to hear even more parts from this cello suite in G major, and the music is performed in a more than excellent way by Laura Michaela Stutz, cellist and teacher at the HKU Utrecht Conservatory. Welcome, music. In this time-honored tradition of lifting the bride, we saw a proud father with an equally proud daughter on his arm. In the past, women and especially daughters were seen as the property of their family. Marriages were done more than out of love, but more and above all from a business point of view. Marriage was in fact little more than a business transaction between two families, with the bride's family exchanging her for money and status. The father's giving away of the bride symbolized that he was satisfied with the settlement and supported the marriage. But why are brides still being given away today? Well, the answer is simple. It's now a completely different meaning. No matter how old you get, you will always be daddy's little girl. The moment you walk towards your groom on the arm of your proud father is often emotional. It symbolizes love, affection, and transferring care to the groom, but also a little let go. It also shows that your parents give their blessing to the marriage behind you. Despite its anything but romantic origin, it is still definitely worth keeping this bittersweet tradition alive. Father Ramesh, thank you very much for giving Sheena away and for showing that you have the utmost confidence that she's in good hands with Manu. Before we start the ceremony, I always want to establish whether all guests are present. Let me just run through the list. Bride, groom, and the bride's parents, Mother Usha and Father Ramesh, I have already seen. On the other side of the video projection, Mother Ansi and Father Cherian are present. Also along with Manu's maternal grandparents, maybe, and possibly also his maternal grandparents. Then I first look for the immediate family, and I'll see Sneha's sister Rasna over there, the partner Henning, and their daughters Mira and Mara. Mira also has the beautiful flower girl that came in front of the bride to bring us the flowers of love. Next is Matthew and his partner Peru. flown all the way from Dubai. Welkom. Dan sehe ich hier unsere Mieter die gesamten deutschen Familienzweig mit Heidrun, Friedhelm und Alexander, aber auch mit Cordula, Hartmut und Jesko. Then the friends who, even though they come from elsewhere, now live in the Netherlands, such as Siddharth, Easy,
Yeah.
Eric with Therese, yes, Ashwin and Marcus, over there, Vitisha, yes, Krishna and Shiv, Lila, Lawrence, over there, Aaron, not here, it's not here, she's sleeping, and Emily is even too sleeping, Pretty with Anton, not to mention Richard.
Yeah.
And Sheena was Ryan, present here with Freya. Are they not there yet? Oh, well, maybe they come from the most closest part of India, so they will be soon in. And then I forget to mention two more, and certainly not the least in this group. They are also the legal witnesses to this marriage today. Welcome, Colonel Cherian. You have been asked by Cherian and Manu as witness at this wedding. Of course, I asked them why they gave you this special role. Their answer was clear, and perhaps that's why it wasn't even very long. But what they said is, of course, what was important. So I heard that you are good friends of theirs here in the Netherlands. Obviously, Sneha and Manu have many other friends in India and other parts of the world. You see them all over here. And many of them are even not present, but in the Netherlands, they know only a small group. You appear to be very helpful and supportive to them. As an example of that help, they mentioned that World Help today, not today, but also the day before, a lot during the preparations for this event. So that's why we got this honor. Nice to hear, isn't it? But let us also think about the people who can't be here today. It's well known that our couple today has a close bond with mutual parents, brother and sister, and with their parents and children. That bond was, of course, also there with the grandparents. But on Sneha's side, they are no longer alive. Sneha told me she especially misses the grandfather on her mother's side because she was very close to him. Although Manu's grandparents are still alive, they can't be there today either. Both Manu and Sneha would have appreciated their presence very much, but as I have been able to understand, a wedding in India is not something you do on a simple Wednesday afternoon. In your country of birth, such a party takes several days. Let's think of today as the first in a series that will be persecuted in full force once travel restrictions are lifted. Perhaps for that reason, Sneha and Manu have no plans for a honeymoon yet. They will try to travel to India as soon as possible to meet all the family there and, of course, to celebrate the wedding in the traditional way of India. A nice prosper. But with regards to Sneha's grandparents, one thing is also certain. Knowing that you have taken them into your heart, you can be convinced that they are very happy to watch how we are going to perform this marriage here today. And that they will watch it from above. And I am convinced, also convinced, that they welcome this marriage with utmost consent. What most people in here don't know is that we met before, the first time a little over 6 weeks ago, on a video call, and I got to tell you there who I am, how I work to celebrate a rainy day, to the greatest success, and how I would handle it in your situation. All three of us immediately clicked, and that was the perfect basis for deciding together that we would do this ceremony today with me as your wedding official. 4 weeks ago, I sent you my list of 36 questions, some of which relate to the ceremony as we are going to do it today. But the 20 more difficult questions were about your life, how you got to know each other, what this relationship means to you, and of course, how you grew in that relationship together. The answers on those questions also have given an idea what you expect from the future. The hardest part was that I expected you not to tell each other what your answers were. And in this way, you were forced to take a penetrating look at the inside of your eyes on your own. I already said in our conversation 3 weeks ago that you passed this assignment with flying colors, and that with your answers in hand, I have not only gained a better picture of who you are, but also that today I may and can and will use your answers to tell your story. So let's get started now. Sneha's life started 31 years ago in Ranchi in Jharkhand state of India. You grew up in a small family with your parents and your older sister. As you described yourself, we had some financial problems during my childhood, but my parents have always supported me in studying and choosing my career, and that has brought me to where I am today. Ranchi may be the state capital, but otherwise it wasn't much. But when I went to study the bigger metropolis Bangalore and developed a bit more in terms of my social and my work skills, and although my childhood was spent in an average lower middle class family, where my mother worked in a school and my father had a small business, they made sure that I went to a good school and learned good habits. I also looked up to my older sister, and she has supported me throughout my life with her experience and her advice. As a child, I think I was a quiet child with not many expectations, since I already understood then that I had to behave well and study well because my parents were not very financially strong, but would give me the support I needed to get where I am now. I understood the importance of education and the job very early in my life. I am sure there are parts of my childhood that have achieved me as an adult now. To get kind of confirmation, I did also ask your sister. Although you are very close, she found it very difficult to choose a particular story from your childhood that could characterize you. Yet she still has a sharp memory of an event when you were 10 and 5 years old, respectively. For the Festival of Lights, Diwali, your parents gave you a new dress. One of the neighbors gave you a little test and said teasingly, "Oh, look, Shia, your parents love Ratna more. They just bought you a simple red dress, while she gets one with lots of frills and bows." Shia looked the neighbor straight in the eye and said, "I don't think you know what elegant is. And anyway, every dress my sister ever gets, she always passes it on to me once. So it always is for me a win-win. According to Rasa, everyone loved and couldn't believe how sharp she was at such a young age. She describes you as a very generous and kind-hearted person. She learned from you to always be nice. She also finds you a strong and determined personality. And once you have decided to do something, you do it. Other aspects of you that she loves are that you are a hardworking and intelligent person. And if she ever gets stuck in life, you are always there to help. And one last thing, in your love for humans and animals, is she also very happy. You clearly hate people who treat any creature badly, and you will do everything you can to prevent to stop that. 2 months and a week before Sneha was born, Mother Nancy gave birth to Manu in the Ernakulam district of Kochi in the province of Kerala. And he was the firstborn son in the Cherian family. We also tell me about it and say, my family is from the south of India. We are Roman Catholics, and my parents are very religious and practicing their religion. Because Dad was in the military, he was away a lot. But Mom didn't want to move all the time, just to give my brother and me structure, such as continuing education. In that sense, my parents also made many sacrifices to give us a good life and a good education. I am the first grandchild in both parents' families, so I always received a lot of attention and care from other family members. Since father was away for work, my brother and I helped our mother by supporting her as best we could with housework and other tasks. Remember these words. I'm also very close to my brother Matthew, and actually they're more like best friends than brothers, as people usually say. In short, looking back now, I have good memories of my childhood. Also for you, I searched for someone to ask if the story corresponds that with the memories of others. So I found Matthews for that reason, and he was willing to answer me. Hold on tight, because he has a long list of memories, and after that, if I want more, all I have to do is ask. Let's refer to me. I am Manu's younger brother, and I have many memories of them. This list is long, so I will mention only a few. He was the eldest at home, but I was always settled with the most tedious chores at home. Whether it was cleaning, helping Mom in the kitchen, or buying things, I was almost always called by Mom. That's the other part. He thought you did it together. Oh. Something I've considered annoying for a long time, he says. But Manu was always smart enough to stay out of the picture. I also remember when Manu and I had a fight once. He then kicked me so hard that my bottom tooth broke off. And that turned out to be a painful week. But as the saying goes, that sooner or later, what punishes what is not right. Manu managed to break his own tooth in the pool up to twice. His front tooth is fake. So, that we know now as well. But also he's serious. He said, Manu has been and still is the great inspiration of my life. It turned out that he could also be nice when I got our dog Bruce at home in India. At the time, and our parents didn't really think it was right to have a dog. Manu was the only one who said, I don't mind. And although Bruce is my dog, he always prefers to be with Manu than with me. I suspect it's because Manu always gives him those nice massages. Lucky Sneha. In college, Manu was known as the love guru. When people needed relationship or love advice, Manu almost always had the best advice. He was also a walking encyclopedia. He had answers to the most diverse subjects. All those nights he spent watching the History Channel and the Discovery Channel have made him very wise. So you can't get a nicer description of yourself. Before someone gets too proud, let's quickly go back to what Sia has done. In Ranchi, you went to primary school, and your secondary education went to Delhi Public School, also in Ranchi. You then went on to study at Visvesvaraya Technological University, whose lectures were taught before you in Bangalore. And you obtained your master's degree at the Symbiosis Center for Information Technology, Pune. At every school or workplace, you always have a large group of friends. And many of them are still in touch by social media and over the phone. You meet as often you can, at least you used to travel a lot together, but because you all live so far away, it's not easy to meet and plan things very often. You don't do much sport, but you still like kickboxing the most. And you do that here in Utrecht, I think in the train more gym. After completing your bachelor's degree, you worked successfully at Hewlett Packard, Infosys, and Deloitte in India. You have now been working for 3.5 years in Amsterdam at Verisal Netherlands as cyber security auditor and consultant. As far as Manu is concerned, I read with interest that he had to travel a lot to do and obtain his education. He attended his primary school in Agra, in the north of India, where your father was stationed at that time. For your secondary education, you moved back to the southwest of India, to Bangalore. Then high school in Pondicherry, which again is in the southeast of India. And then you went to boarding school. You then went back to Bangalore to study business management at the university there. And in 2018, you moved to the Netherlands to get your MBA from the TIAS School for Business and Society in Tilburg. After graduating in 2011, you worked for the Northern Trust Corporation in Bangalore for 7 years. And since you graduated for your master's degree, you have now been working for a year and 10 months as a treasury system analyst at Arrow Electronics in Houten. You make friends quite easily with most people you know. But as you yourself indicate, you have few friends who are very close to you. And unfortunately, most of those close friends can't attend this very due to the travel restrictions and will be forced to watch it by the live connection. Fortunately, social media helps to keep in touch with most of your close friends. It also is great to read that Sneha and you now have a nice group of mutual friends in the Netherlands with whom you like to hang out and enjoy each other's company. In terms of sports, you played badminton in high school and even came out for that school. Nowadays, sports are limited to yoga and running, but luckily you can enjoy that too. Now, we already have a pretty good picture now of each of you individually. Let's see what you guys told me about how you got to know each other. We then have to think of 2 student rooms in Bangalore, where Manu and Sneha live not so far from each other. It's spring 2015, and after a day of lectures, it's time for both of them to browse social media. In those years, the internet and smartphone were great tools for making new contacts and meeting fellow students. You ultimately want nothing to do with some of them, but usually there are 1 or 2 faces and profiles that you want to get to know further, if only to exchange knowledge and experience on the study. Likewise, in the case of Manu and Sneha, after all, both followed very interesting studies, and it's very pleasant to learn more about and more about each other. There is some emailing back and forth, and at some point it's also nice to exchange phone data to find out where someone lives, to meet up and to see if you want to get to know each other even better. If I can believe Sneha, we first met in July 2015, and within 6 months you were a couple. For Manu, it went many times faster in memory. He literally says, I think we were a couple within 3 months of getting to know each other. He also adds something very sweet, and I will quote him again. I fell in love with Sneha because of her personality, her smiles, her kindness, her chemistry, and her cleverness. Of course, I also heard something like that from Sneha about Manu, and I don't want to involve that for you either. For she says, I have fallen for the modesty of Manu. He never holds any grudges towards anyone, is not envious, and lives a simple life. If I ask you how the relationship has developed and what you think of the other, I could also get nice answers. Sneha then says, as I said, I immediately like his humility and simplicity that has evolved over time. I admire the respect he has for his and my parents, how he has come to love them, and how close he is with his brother and my sister. I always enjoy the trips we take together and the places we visit. He likes driving, and I navigate and play music. I remember we did most of our travels this way, and I look forward to doing it even more. For Manu, the fairy tale is still not finished either. He says to me, from the moment I got to know Sneha better, I started to fall for her more and more. And in the past 6 years, this feeling has not changed. But I now also know how warm and kind she is to every living being. Then after the relationship becomes stronger in those years, the feeling also grows to perpetuate the relationship. The marriage is then obvious. But has that always been the case? You are both supposed to that question and thus say yes, it has always been. Manu adds, I always wanted to get married or start a family, but the feeling became stronger the moment Sneha came into my life. Honestly, if I had the opportunity then, I would have wanted to marry her 5 years ago. But I also feel now that today is the perfect time to do it. When I asked what marriage means to you, you add, it's a covenant for me that strengthens the bond we have now. Personally, I feel that our relationship has grown stronger over time. The ups and downs we have had in recent years have strengthened our relationship and understanding of each other. We think alike, have the same interests, and we both follow a vegan lifestyle, which feels like the icing on the cake. We love to travel and also care deeply about each other's family and friends. We support each other in our dreams and wishes, but also in each other's professional lives. Sneha also sees marriage as a special covenant. She sees it as the seal of a comradeship that has grown into soulmatehood. So you know that in India much value is placed on marriage. More important to you is that you only want and should get married if you are convinced that it is the right person and the right time. You take it very seriously, especially since it is something that will last forever. And your conclusion now is that you are now getting ready because your heart tells you that Manu is the right man to spend your life with and be happy with forever. Well, that being the case, I think it will be a good time to move on to the wedding now. Although everyone is here today, who is here today in the wedding chapel and by the video link are also witnesses in this marriage, there are also two official witnesses present. We discussed that already at the beginning of this ceremony. I will briefly explain the role of the witness. First of all, you confirm to me with your signature that those who are getting married here today are really Sneha and Manu. But because nowadays there are passports and identity cards, that would actually not be necessary. I've already seen it. Secondly, it has traditionally been your role, if others have doubts as to whether Manu and Sneha are married, to be able to declare it with justification and certainty, because you are there. But today, there is the official marriage register. This is where the deeds are stored, which will be signed before, shortly after. So we no longer need the witness for that too. But the first, not unimportant thing has also been added, which makes it interesting again. The witnesses declare with their signature that the couple has made the decision to get married with good reason and were sane and sound when they decided to get into this marriage. Luckily, I was able to establish that myself too in the conversation that I had a couple of weeks ago in Sneha's flat. Well, anyway, because the law still requires the signature of at least two and at most four witnesses, one thing is for sure, by putting your signature per and rail, you make the marriage legally valid. Like this, Sneha and Manu, I will ask you shortly to stand and give each other the right hands and then answer me to the question I'm going to ask either of you individually. In order to comply with the Dutch law for 200%, I ask you not only to give your answer in English, but also to include the Dutch translation of the yes I asked you. That way there can be no misunderstanding about what you have said for our Netherlands situation. After the yes and my confirmation of the marriage, Laura will play the sixth movement of the first Bach suite for cello, namely the G. But pronouncing the formula, before pronouncing the formula, we are going to do two more things. I'm going to ask you to stand and look at each other in the eye. Then each of you will have the opportunity to say to each other the promise that is on your lips and that you have tried in your hearts perhaps 1,000 times over the past few weeks to pronounce without hesitation. Stand up, Manu. I'll give you the first floor.
Tina, my precious colleague. I'm so happy to be in front of you today and look into your beautiful eyes on this special day and in front of everyone we love and care about. Say how much I love you and feel blessed and lucky to have you. I still remember our first phone conversation and our first time we even met. It's still a fresh memory, which I usually go back to. And I know this particular moment is adding up to that list of all the other conversations. And I strongly feel everything we have experienced the last 6 years has led to this beautiful day. And people have asked me if I'm nervous about today. I think people, they can read my face and tell I'm not nervous. I was looking forward to be with you and start this new space. And like I said, you are beautiful, most beautiful person. Smart, kind, funny, honest, brave, intelligent, true to yourself. You've been always true to yourself. And you're a loving person. I love many others. And one, I love listening to your voice. I come to that home. I will love coming to that home. Listen to that. And you make me laugh. I will love pampering you, looking at your every expression now. And the chance I get, any moment I get to spend with you, I always look forward to that. Last 3 years, the Netherlands has got me more closer. And I feel everything what has happened last 3 years has brought us to this particular day and this particular moment. And I hope you feel the same as well. On this day, I commit myself to you as to learn and grow, to explore and adventure with, to respect you in everything as an equal partner. In the foreknowledge of joy and pain, strength and weakness, direction and doubts, for all of the rising and setting of the sun, I can't wait to start this new journey, for which we have been deep.
Thank you very much, Luke. Sounds very great. Now it's Snickers' turn. Before I for it.
I still remember the day we met. Of course, marriage was the power of nothing because we knew about marriage 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. But I always liked the face of yours, the calmness and the patience, and the way you just treat me and other people. And I think I said a lot of times in the last 6 years that, oh, it's not get married. But I think much more than that. I thought and always knew that I was going to do. And just I don't see it enough. I don't say it enough, and I don't show it, but I think it it makes me so happy to be finally a family together. You are the best cat dad. Your immense patience, humbleness, and calmness is what I call for every single day. You keep me sane, and you are the one who keeps us together. From this day onwards, now that we will be husband and wife, I promise to love you and walk beside you through everything good or bad things in our lives. I love you and I love you too.
Keep standing. Okay, standing a moment. Some very nice, beautiful words. I know I'm not taking you along originally cheerful, but both of beautiful Celtic tradition. In this tradition, your right hands are similarly tied together with ribbons in the chosen colors of ivory, misty blue, and sunset. Each of these colors has a symbolic meaning in its own right. but each of you is free to put your own value to it. Our ivory stands for truth, serenity, purity, concentration, and peace. Misty blue for calmness, understanding, and patience. I chose sunset because this color typically represents kindness, encouragement, attraction, and enough for each other. The tying of hands symbolize coming together as a couple beautifully reinforce the love for each other. They symbolize a shared heartbeat, your hearts beating close together and in connection. Your hearts almost melted together. I'll tell you more about the symbolism of the gold shortly. For now, look each other in the eyes, give each other the right hand. Yes. Then I bind you up, tight and fast your hands with this cord. So you're together. And then I ask you to answer my question very clear and loud. Manu, Cherian, do you declare to take as your wife Sneha Singh and pledge to faithfully fulfill all the duties which are attached to the marital status by law? What is your answer to that?
Yes.
Sneha Singh, do you also declare to adapt as your husband, Manu, Cherian, and do you also pledge faithfully to fulfill all the duties which the law attaches to the marital status? What is your answer to that?
Yes.
And?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I declare as a special visitor of this Receptory Office of the Municipality of Utrecht that Manu, Cherian, and Sneha Singh are bound to each other by marriage. Freeing the hands symbolizes not only that get lost in, but also that they are going together out of their own free will. And so I take these cords from their hands, giving space to their desire to by exchanging words convert silver bond made from today with a beautiful ring. Your eyes already there. So, Manu, it's your chance to take the first ring and to put it on Sneha's finger. Now we can stand here. She's not a problem. She's not hiding the rings. Oh, dit verkeerde. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you have the good ones as well. Okay. Now, Sneha, now you can put the ring on Manu's finger. There it goes. Looks beautiful. Very much, very much. Good morning. Well, the yes word, or your ja or half, it's building in itself for the law. Truly, clearly, yes, to our present, we are forever connected. To record this moment forever, we are also going to sign a deed today, and the witnesses were appointed to make this deed into a valid, but especially valuable document with their signature. And with mine, in conclusion, I confirm this commitment as your extraordinary wedding official. Before we do it, I need to read it out loud so that each of those present today can understand what it says. On September the 22nd of 2021, the marriage of Cherian and Manu, born on October 16th in 1989 in Ernakulam, India, residing in Utrecht, son of ethnic colonel Cherian Abraham and Cherian Ansi. And Singh Sneha, born on December 24th, 1989 in Ranchi, India, also residing in Utrecht, daughter of Singh Ramesh and Singh Usha. The newlyweds have declared that they will adopt each other as spouses and will faithfully fulfill all the duties associated with marital status by law. This deed was drawn in Utrecht on September 22nd of 2021 by the Special Registrar of the Civil Registry, William Henry Anthony Van der Plas. Present as witness were Mystery Rail Mount Ori and Anglesaia Pearl whose deed. So, we're going to sign. Let's go to the table over there. We have room in this block to twice put the sign, but exactly in the same place on both deeds. Manu can go first, because he's the husband. So, in both, yes, put it on my hand there. I'm standing next to her so she can sit and sign. And look if she does it well. Fantastic. Now stand together and let's Go get the first one. Yes. Next one, so then I'll take the seat and we'll make it official. Then, for sake of all other deeds, I'm a register, so I have to do it many times. Well, it's there. You can take your seat and we continue after I've given the deed to construct. That was the Sarabanda, wasn't it? Yes. Fourth movement of the street from Bach. Well, you also saw me sign two other deeds, two certificates. That's the extract of the deed and fitted in a marriage certificate, a booklet that we call in Dutch the trouwboekje. Because it's not but to have a lasting memory of today's official portion. The marriage certificate contains an extract of the deed. If you do not receive itself, but it goes with the lady to the archives of the municipality, where one copy will be kept in a bunker somewhere in the east of the country. So in case the archives Utrecht get lost in fire, there always is another copy available. And I honestly don't understand why they do it. They can scan it and it will be in the cloud for everyone to see. But okay, that's how the law is. Well, the booklet, the trouwboekje, contains also a few things about the registration of birth and death. I gave the booklet to Manu shortly because he has an inside pocket in his jacket. It's perfectly fits him. If you ever need to be able to prove in the media that you are married here in the Netherlands under civil law, an international extract of the deed is available. You have told me that you're going to request that later at the town hall. But there was also another document I put my sign into the list, and that's the translation of the page in the trouwboekje in English, and in such a way that you even can frame it and hang it on the wall in the flat to let show everyone who's coming around that you are really being married by me. Well, all the formalities are behind us. The lady of this municipality has gone, so we are now on notes. We can do anything we want. All legal parts have taken part and are done well because they had no problem. Well, all yes words have been pronounced, the rings are on the right finger, and the signatures are there they should be. We can now dwell on the two issues that were discussed earlier, but for which I have not yet given an explanation at that time. The first is the symbolism behind the knot in the cords where you were handfast with. Let me show you it once more. You can see the knot is a heart shape. I do not need to explain what that symbolizes, but the knot seems made as if it were an old fisherman's knot. It was taught to every young sailor at sea. Some knots they had to learn were purely for practical use, and others were made for decoration. Only a few knots were used to indicate meaning. And the knot that arose during this period and was full of meaning was the true lover's knot. It's a simple and clear knot implying its frank purpose. It consists of multiple interweavings that are connected to each other, just as the true lovers are in their hearts connected. A sailor was taught to tie the knot loosely and send it to his intended lover. Upon receipt, the woman could do three things: untie the knot, and that meant the sailor better not show his face the next time he's on board. But she could also send it back in the loose condition as she received it. With that, she tried to say to the sailor that he would be welcome, but had better to do his best first. And the best way, like it is now, is tighten the knot and send it back. And this meant that the sailor is expected to make his way to his beloved house with the utmost haste. Well, you did it in the utmost haste. The knot today is in the latest version, like I said, the taut knot. This has proved that you were sure that you belong together definitely from today. The second thing I would like to mention about is the history, and therefore also the meaning of the wedding ring. We go way back in history for this and then see a somewhat mysterious story which originated on the banks of the Nile in ancient Egypt. The people who lived there firmly believed that from the third finger of their left hand, a vein runs directly to the heart. They called this vein the vena amoris, or the vein of love. Not that it made any difference to your choice, but for all those who do not yet know where to wear their wedding ring, this might be a nice reason to choose the left finger. You will also find a lot about the wedding in the annals of the Romans. According to their tradition, the curve of the wedding is an eternal circle, the symbol of eternity. Like time, the wedding ring has no beginning or end. You keep coming back to the same thing, just like life. The opening in the ring even has a special meaning. It's the symbol of the passage through all events in the life of the one who wears the ring. And we also learn from the Romans that exchanging and then wearing the ring also shows that this man and this woman only belong to each other and are no longer available for anyone else. In that tradition, it's also a nice thing and safe thought that if Cherian has to travel for a few days for work, and she wears the ring, of course, Manu will know is clear to anyone who that's clear to anyone who wants to see that she already belongs to him. That's a safe thought, isn't it? Yes, and now some other aspects of the marital state that you are in now. Will anything change in your relationship after today compared to yesterday? I don't think so. Although you yourself said in answer to my question that nothing really changes. Your witnesses, Pearl and Ray, also said something similar. And I asked them to tell me about the relationship you have with them. They started by saying that on the one hand, this relationship has not been around very long, but that it's intense, the friendship. In fact, they want to continue with you the same way they did when they first met you. Pearl said that she came to the Netherlands not before April 2019 and also started working at Cherian. She didn't see you there for the first time until a few months later, because you spent most of your working life away from office or with the client and really only comes into the office to file your expenses or attend the meeting. After she and Sneha went out for work a few times, Pearl thought it was a great idea to invite both of you and a few other friends over for a little dinner at her and Ray's house. The lockdown made contact more difficult, but it did bring you closer together. Fortunately, that now that more is possible, the tradition of going out and having fun with each other can be picked up again quickly. And that's how they want nothing to change. They also referred to the 4 street cats that you have already adopted in India, and of which I know through Matthews that Manu, with the necessary surreptitious confidence, led his parents to believe that he would only take 2 of them to the Netherlands. But the fact that all 4 of them are now here in Utrecht says a lot about your love for these animals, so that shouldn't change either. What about Manu's cooking? Rose says she is terribly jealous of Svea that she has landed such a great cook. Her own Rayo can barely cook an egg or a pan of rice, just like most men in India can. As a final example of things that should not be done differently, she mentions your love for surprises. That's why Manu has proposed to Cherian completely in style. To everyone's surprise, Manu went down on his knees on the Wadden island of Balter in Germany for a proposal where Jo and Vesna and his children, as well as Heiden and Friedhelm, stayed for a few days. Jo and Rayo have also tried to get surprise effect to you by surprising you with the luxury nights and they have organized for you. Now that we can be convinced that this marriage is a one-off, such a surprise will never happen again. And that's a change for the better. You do not need to change yourselves either, for although you are already the same in many ways. The differences are not such that they can lead to conflict. The big differences is in everyone's personality, and you assume that each of you can remain the person he or she is. Precisely because of your different backgrounds, the little more than 6 years that you have been together have been a permanent learning experience, and it will remain so even after today. Svea also expressed this beautifully when she wrote to me that she herself always had a great need to do things, while Manu shows that she also can relax. There she can learn from Manu to be more patient. Manu thinks he can get a little more of her extrovertism and the ease with which she can start a conversation with complete strangers. In addition, and that's especially different, you're now wearing each other ring. You can call yourself husband and wife, and you will officially live together from today. But for the rest, your story is very clear, and the 2 of you do not experience difficult things or irritations back and forth. You can count quarrels on the fingers of one hand. Svea thinks there are 2. Manu suspects it was even fewer. You think it's much more important than when you have differences of opinion. You give each other the space to differ in the first place. But if it gets too bad, you will also give each other the space to think about it and come back to each other to talk about it. Knowing that love heals all wounds, you seek the hug again and soon settle your disagreement. As for the future, you're also quite united in your answer to my question about what the married life looks like in the short and medium term, and what plans, wishes, and dreams are still there. You both love to travel the world and face things together, whether they are good or bad, doesn't matter. And you come both to the conclusion that living together and having a full family of your own, maybe with 1 or 2 children and some more animals than just your current 4 cats, might be things to face with that. And it's really remarkable that Snea told me this in kind of the same words she used many years ago. There were notes of the poverty almost everywhere around. You said to adopt a girl like the ones you saw, to take care of that child and to be like the world to her. It's never been said because you won't already know how to be able to conceive yourself. So, well, it was more and mostly because of the misery you did see around. So none of the people present here today or at the video call should misread her words. It's just the kind of man who Manu and Snea want to be. Not just being a great support to each other, but also to the world as a little step forward in diminishing poverty and misery. And I'm quite sure as we speak here today in a wedding chapel, that there is always anywhere out there a power leading people like Snea and Manu on the path that is already prepared in the past, when she and he not even knew about it. You face the future with confidence. In your own words, we are two puzzle pieces that fit together perfectly, and we complement each other in the best possible way. We are not perfect, but we also know our flaws, but above all, our dark and good sides. We remember the time when it was very difficult for Manu's parents with a Roman Catholic background to accept Snea with her Hindu background as his bride. But we, Snea and Manu, always stood side by side, just as if the Bible book of Corinth, or one of the many Vedas, could predict this too. Love has proved to be the greatest of the three core elements: faith, hope, and love. And for today, the most important thing is that it is precisely because of this fact that Mr. Cherian and Mrs. Ansi also accepted Snea and gave their blessing to this marriage. And this has strengthened you in your promise to always be there for each other and support each other in your needs. As a couple, you say you bring out the good in each other, so it will naturally become a good and long companionship. That being the case, we now can happily move on from this ceremony to the party you have in store for the guests. It was a great honor for me to lead your ceremony today. And I would also like to take the very official privilege of being the first. I love to do that and wish you the perfect life and the life associated with it. When you lead us to the room where the party will continue to be celebrated, Laura will finally play the prelude from the first Bach suite for cello for us. For now, I say to you, your parents, your grandparents, your family, friends, and of course, first and foremost to yourself.
Thank you.